So inshallah we're going to start. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So we'll be learning 3 ayats of Surah AnNamal today, starting from ayat number 16 up to 18. We'll do a simple translation first. The ayat number 16 is talking about the dynasty of Dawud alayhi salam, that after him his son Sulaiman alayhi salam became the king and the prophet. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning here the major aspects of the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So the ayat starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa waritha Sulaimanu Dauda. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Sulaiman inherited the Dawood, or the kingdom of Dawood alayhi salam. Waqala, and he said, the Sulaiman, after he became the king, he said, Ya ayyuhan nasu, he addressed the people in his kingdom. O the mankind, O the people. Ullimna, we have been taught, we have been given the knowledge, mantiqat tari, of the speech or language of the birds. So he was able to communicate with the birds. Wa'utina, and we have been given min kulli shay'in, of everything or all the things of the worldly nature. Inna hadha, he is further saying that indeed this is lahuwa, surely it is a fadlul mubin, a favor of very clear favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then after that, in the next ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions an incident that happened when Sulaiman alayhi salam was journeying to another place. The ayat starts with Wahushira li Sulaimana, and were gathered or collected or brought together for Sulaiman junuduhu, his armies. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions who was in the armies of Sulaiman alayhi salam. The first word is minal jinni, of the jinn, wal insi, and of the mankind, of the man, of the people were there in his army. Wat tayri, and the birds were also a part of his armies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they all were gathered together, brought in one place, fahum yuzaun, and they were made to stand in a rank, in a place where they can be marching, ready for marching, like the army is ready, get ready to march. Then their marching started. They started traveling towards some destination. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Hatta, until idha atau, when they arrived or they reached to a place, Allah calls ala wadin namli, to a place or upon a place which was a valley where the ants were existing. There were a lot of ants living in that area. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the statement of one of the ants that made with Sulaiman alayhi salam, that Allah had given him extra abilities to hear the language of other creation. He heard that. So this ant, one of the ants, qalat namlatun, one of the ants said something. And what did this ant say? This ant addressed all the other ants that were there in that valley. Ya ayyuhan namlu, O all the ants, udkhulu masakinakum, go back into your houses, which means the place you live underground in your holes. Go back. They were probably on the surface of the ground. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that one of the ants started warning other ants that go back into underground masakin, your homes. And then the reason this ends is saying why, la yahtimannakum Sulaymanu, maybe lest that Suleiman wajunuduhu and his army which are traveling and arriving in this valley, they will walk over you, they will crush you and you will be killed. Wahum la yash'urun, and they will not even know that you were under their feet and you got killed. So as a protection and saving your lives, leave this area of the surface of the land and go underground in your masakin, in your houses where you reside. So this is the story that continues after that, what Suleiman said after that, and what other things he mentioned. So with that simple translation, we will go back and learn few things here. First of all, I'll go in some details of linguistic ideas, but first I want to translate first few words of this ayah number 16. The ayat starts with the word wawaritha. The word commonly that is known is, first of all, the ayat starts with the letter waw with a fataha, and that means end. After that, the root letters are waw, ra and tha. The meaning of these root letters is to inherit something. So if one person leaves something behind, the other person or the other family member inherits that property or that asset or anything. So this is the meaning of, and we know the virsa and all virasat are common words in Urdu also. So that is the meaning of varasa. In this case, when we make the grammar of the past tense, we put a kasra under the middle letter and two fathas on the first and third letter, and this sounds like varitha. This is the grammar of third person he and past tense. So the meaning of these words is he inherited. Now we don't know who this he is at this time. Third person is an inheriting something from his elders. Now one thing to notice is that in the language Arabic Fusha, the word after that is Suleiman. Suleiman is Solomon, and here important thing to notice is that if on the last letter of this noun, this is a name, if you see a dhamma or a pesh on the last letter, his original name is Suleimano. If the original name, full name is being used in the verse, especially with the last letter which is noon has a dhamma or a pesh, then this whole word is going to replace this he. Linguistically, now the meaning will be, and Suleiman inherited. There is no he anymore, because this word Suleiman characteristic is that there should be a dhamma. If there was a fatah or zabar, you cannot do that. It has to be only this pesh there. So Suleiman inherited. Now what did he inherit? The other word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using is Dawu Do. This is the full name. One thing I want to point out in the writing of this word and speaking of this word, if the last letter is a dal, that has a dhamma. This letter waw is in Uthmani script and Indo-Pak script is written differently, but the meanings and the pronunciation is same. In Uthmani script, they put a dhamma or a pesh on the waw letter, and here next to that they put a little waw, a little dhamma there, or little pesh. And the meaning of this combination is that you stretch this letter a little bit. Dawu do. Okay, just don't do quickly. In the Indo-Pak script, instead of writing it this way, they just take an inverted pesh, ulta pesh, and they put it like that. Okay, that's the difference in the, because some people read Uthmani Quran, some people read the Indo-Pak Quran. So this is the clear difference. Both mean that stretch this wow just a little bit more. So the word is Davudo, and last letter has a pesh. This is the original name of David. Now, Suleiman is inheriting from Davudo. So Davudo is the one which is a maf'ul or object or work is being done. And to represent that, we take the last letter and change Dhamma to a Fataha. So the word becomes Dawuda. If you mispronounce that, the meaning will just turn around completely. So important thing is that pronounce, read, understand. Suleimano is the one, Suleiman is inheriting. He is taking the kingdom from his father. So father is giving, he is a maf'ul, so he is Dawuda, his name is Dawudo, but in the statement of the sentence, that's how the formation of the words are. So the meaning so far is that when Dawood alayhi salam, in his old age, he was the king and he was the prophet, both of them. When he was dying, Suleiman, who was his son, who was also a prophet, inherited and he became the king of the country. So that is the meaning of these words so far. وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ Sulaiman alayhi salam inherited the kingdom from his father Dawood. That's the meaning so far. Now, after inheriting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had bestowed some favors upon Sulaiman alayhi salam. Many favors Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, that he was a king, he was a prophet, and he was given certain abilities, some qualities by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of them which is mentioned here is that he was able to understand the speech, the language of the birds and the language of the ants, and he had control over the jinns, and then he was able to order the winds, how they blow and when they blow, and serve them. So he was given many other abilities with that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning one of them. First of all, Allah says, وَقَالَ, and he said, after he became the king, Sulaiman alayhi salam, qala means he said, it's the past tense. So he made a statement. And this looks like he is giving a speech to his people. And he is addressing the people by saying, Ya ayyuhan naso, O the mankind, which were people in his kingdom. I just want to point out a couple of things. So I've done it before, that the word Ya, it means O. So it's a harf nada. If you are addressing someone, first you say O. Okay, just like in English. So like for you say, you are addressing your brother, you say, Ya akhi, oh my brother. So akhi is my brother. So you will address a person first by putting the ya in the beginning and using the relationship or anything else. So ya akhi is my brother. Now, if instead of this next word has al before that, and we are taking the example of al-naso, which is pronounced as an-naso. This has an al before that, and sound is an-naso. Okay. If you have al before, which means da, then you don't use ya. Instead of use ya, you add another part of the word ayyuha. Okay. So ya ayyuha, and then this becomes because of this hamza, this becomes a long mud here. So ya ayyuhan naso, then you read all of them together. Ya ayyuhal muzammil, al is there. Ya ayyuhal muddassir, al is there. Meaning is still same. Harf nada, you're addressing someone, but al has to be there. You will use the word ayyuha. If al was not there, you just simple say ya. Okay, so that is the characteristics of the language here. So he is addressing the pupil by saying, "Oh, all the people in his kingdom, ya ayyuhan nasu." Now, so what is he saying? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in next few words is quoting what Suleiman mentioned to his people. But before I proceed, there is in certain order some words are coming with some linguistic understanding. So I want to spend a couple minutes. So when the words will come, it will be easy to understand. If I have these three letters, which are used for the example, fa'ala, and fa'ala means to do, okay? If I want to make a past tense of third person, I simply combine these three letters and put three fathas on each of them and sound as fa'ala. This is the first of all, the meaning is that third person he and past tense did. Okay. Now this is it's called active or maroof. So there is an Arabic word for active is maroof, like active voice and passive voice. Simple this thing. Now if I make one change in these three letters, I still write these three letters together with a fa, but this time I change first letter to a dhamma and it is pronounced as a fo. Second letter I change to a kasra and keep the third one as it is. So the sound is now fo'ila. This becomes the majhul or passive, and majhul is this way. And how the passive is translated in English is that something was done to him. Like qatala, he killed. Qutila, he was killed. So when you make a passive from active in Arabic, you change these two harakats, and in English you have to make a lot of change. In English it was done. Okay. So that is how active and passive are made in English and Arabic. Fa'ala, fo'ila. Very important thing to distinguish. Now, this is the example because many words are coming which are going to follow this format. So I want to explain very clearly that only the harakat are going to make a lot of changes. So this thing is a past tense. I want to make a present tense because that is also coming here. How present tense is made, you add a ya in the beginning and put a fataha, it becomes yafu alu. Everything is on the top, fatah and dhamma and sukoon. Ya, putting a ya in the beginning brings the meaning of he, and present tense, he does. Very important things, let's understand this. Okay, this is maroof or active, you put a fataha. If I make one change here, keep this same and just change the first one to a dhamma and pronounce as yufo alu. This becomes passive. So the meaning will be, it is done. It is done. So past tense, you change two places. In the present tense, you change only one place. Very important to understand because a lot of words are going to follow these patterns now. Okay, so going from active to passive in the present tense all you do, you just make one little change here on the first letter. In the past tense, you make two changes here. Okay, very important because they are coming, quite a few of those are coming here. So just keep that rule in the mind. It's a very simple rule, but we will follow now the translations. Okay. The next word, what Suleiman said, Ya Yohannaso Ulimna. So let's look at that word. First of all, the root letter says N, Lam, and Mim. Alama means to know something. If you come to know something, ilm, knowledge, alim, those are the words from there. And these are the three letters belong to fa'ala. If I put a shadda in the middle letter and pronounce as fa'ala, this becomes allama. Allama has a different meaning. Allama means to teach. Allama means to learn. Allama means to teach. Okay, so this is the word we are going to use. So if I put a noon alif after that, it becomes allamna. Allamna. This is the grammar of first person. Allamna means we taught. Simply things. We taught. Okay, we have done some teaching. That is allamna. Now, these are four letters. Okay, so the rules are somewhat different. I just want to point out the rule to you that allamna means we, first person. Noon alif brings the meaning of na, means first person plural. Allamna, we taught. Okay, if I make the following changes, on the first letter I change this to a dhamma, and on the second letter I change to a kasra. This becomes ulimna. This is the passive. We have been taught. Allamna, we taught. Ulimna, we have been given the knowledge. We have been taught. So that is what Sulaiman alayhi salam is saying that. Now he is not saying who taught him. Obviously it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he is saying we, and he is using the plural, which means he himself and maybe some other people have been given the knowledge. They have been taught. So this is what he is being thankful. Ulimna, we have been given the knowledge. So that is what first word he is saying. Now he is being specific what kind of knowledge he has been given. So we will learn these letters, Noon, Ta, and Qaf. Nataqa. This means to speak. Okay. Noon, Ta, and Qaf means to speak. Okay. Now, if I make four letter words by adding and making it antaqa, from this I can make the noun mantiqun, like muslimun, mujrimun. Muntiqun means a logical speech. Mantiq is also used in Urdu language. Mantiq jhad rahe hain aap apni, which means you are keep giving your logic to me. Mantiq is a word which is a very logical, explainable speech. Mantiq. So that is the word that is going to be used in the Quran. So first word is mantiqun. The second word is ta, ya, and ra. Tayrun means bird. Okay. Full word is tay with the two dhammas. It's bird. So we have two nouns. Mantiqun. Full word is mantiqun, means speech. Tayrun means bird. Okay. Now we are going to combine these two words, but first we are going to add al before that. So al means the. So this word become, when you combine and read together, lam is not pronounced, ta is pronounced twice, it becomes at-tayr. and al will remove one dhamma, so final word will become at-tayru. Okay, lam is not pronounced, twa is pronounced twice, so it becomes at-tayru. At-tayru means the bird. Okay, at-tayru means the bird or bird kind. Okay, mantiqun means speech or language. Okay, so we are going to combine these two by putting an off in between. Okay, so in English it became a speech of the bird or a speech of the birds or the bird kind, which means he is saying, Ulimna, we have been taught, we have been given the knowledge of what? Mantiqun and at-tayru. So when we combine by putting an off in English, in Arabic two things happen. You look at the next word and change this to a kasra, so it becomes at-tayri. On the first one you remove one dhamma and then you read them together. So the final combined word here, just the standalone these two, is mantiqut tayri. Mantiqut tayri. Bird, speech of the word. One more thing will happen, but if these are the only two words, then they will be pronounced mantiqut tayri. But in the Quran, on the qaf, there is a fataha. Okay? So that means something else is impacting this. What is impacting? The word before that is ulimna. That's a verb. We have been taught. What we have been taught? The speech of the birds. So this word mantiqu is coming as a maf'ul, as an object of ulimna. And when a noun comes an object, then we remove the pesh or dhamma and put a kasra there. Not a kasra, fataha. Because maf'ul has fataha on it. So it becomes mantiqat tayri. So that's what it's saying. Ya ayyuhan nasu, he addressed mankind. Ulimna, we have been given the knowledge and we have been taught. Mantiqat tayri, the speech of the birds, bird kind. So that is what he is announcing to the people. The other thing he is announcing is as wa'utina min kulli shay'in. So this word waw means and. So the word is utina. This is written this way. Utina. Okay, I just want to point out that ata are the root letters. Ata means to come. If I add an alif, 4-letter words, ata means to give. Ata, amrullah, Allah's amr came. But if it is ata, that means to give. Okay? To give. Okay, so if I add a na before that, it becomes atayna. When you put na, it becomes the past tense of plural of first person. Atayna. Fa'alna, we did. Atayna, we gave. Atayna, we gave. Now, I mentioned the rule before that if so atayna will have a fataha there. So it will be sounding like that. Atayna. Okay, you can write down this way. Atayna. If on the first letter and the second letter I made the following changes, is that if I make this as a dhamma or pesh and this as a kasra, it becomes the passive. Just ulimna, we learned that you can make those two changes, becomes passive. So the word utina, wow is added because of the sound of this dhamma is u now. Utina means we have been given. It's a passive. So he says, ulimna, we have been taught. Wa utina, and we have been given. What we have been given? Min kulli shay'in, of everything. all the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kul means all. Okay, shay means things. Kulli shayin min kulli, of all the things, which means all the worldly favors they have been given to Sulaiman alayhi salam. Then he further says, or the words are inna haza lahuwal fadlul mubin. Now this can be a statement from Sulaiman, or this can be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying something. But the fact is that inna means surely. These are the words which come very often. So I'm going to pass quickly. Inna means surely. Okay. Hadha means this. And this hadha is pointing to the mantiq at-tayri and everything. He's saying, indeed, surely all this. Lahuwa. This lam here and hova. La means surely, and hova means it is. So he is saying it is, definitely, surely it is. What is it is? Al-fadlul mubin. Fadl, common word, means bounty or a favor from someone. Fazl, we say fazl, but it is fadl. Mubin is something which is very clear. So it is being said that all these blessings and bounties that have been given to Sulaiman, this is definitely a fadlul mubin, a favor, very clear favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the quality of those who are righteous people, that when they have some bounties, some gift from Allah, they always attribute this as a fadl, as a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very clear. So that is what Sulaiman is doing. So now the second part starts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what happened. Wa hushira li Sulaimana. So let's understand this word. The waw means and. Ha, sheen, and ra. Hashara means to gather or to collect. Can you tell them to be quiet? So hashara means to gather or to collect someone or to bring something together. So if I put 3 fathas, hashara. Hashara means he gathered. Okay, but as I explained in the beginning, if I made these 2 changes and pronounce hoshira, this becomes passive voice, which means was gathered. Something was collected, something was brought together. Okay, so that is what is wahushira, and were brought together or collected together. Now, what is brought and for whom? So the next important word to notice or pay attention is that the word is li. Li means for. Okay. The next word that we know is original word is so, lay, ma, and the original full name, as I mentioned before, has a pesh or a dhamma at the end. This is full name. You start with that. Li Sulaima, no, li is for, and the word is Sulaimano. Now, li is a harf-e-jar. Harf-e-jar preposition, whenever it comes before a noun, it looks at the noun, last letter, which is dhamma, and it changes to a kasra. So theoretically, it should be li Sulaimani. If this word was Muhammadun, it will become li Muhammadin. Now, the word Sulaimano is a non-Arabic name. It's a foreign name. So it doesn't follow the rules. So this, instead of kasra under Sulaimano, it becomes fataha. Okay. So li Sulaimana is the word for Sulaiman. Wahushira li Sulaimana, and were gathered, were brought together for Sulaiman. What was brought together? The word is jim, noon, and dal. Jundun is the noun. Jundun means a group of some people or someone, and or an army or a host. So the word is Jundun. Jundun means an army, for example, or a group of people. Jundun, one army. Its plural is Junudun. So Junudun, armies. That is the plural of Jundun. Junudun, armies. Then you put a who means he or his. So when you combine them, one dhamma goes away, it becomes Junuduhu, his armies, and he's pointing to Sulaiman alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Hushir alayhi Sulaimana, for Sulaiman were gathered his armies. His armies of what? Were brought together. Three kinds of armies are being mentioned here, which are simple words. Minal, first of all, the word is jinn. Jim, noon with a shadda. Jinn, noon. Okay. Do you put al before that? Al will make it one dhamma goes away. Al jinno. Al jinno means the jinn kind. Okay. And put a min before that. Min means among or of. So, and then you read, it will become, because of this harf-e-jar, jinno will change to jinni. Last letter changes always. Minal jinni, of the jinn kind. So, first army, Junuduhu, was of minal jinni, of the jinn kind. So, all the jinns were brought together in this Hushira. The second thing, second word is insun. Insun means man. Insun, and then you put al before that, then it will become al inso, one dhamma goes away. Al inso means the mankind, people. Okay. Now, min is still applying to this, so this will also change to insi. And you read that minal insi, but minal jinni, wow is in between, so you don't say min, but the action of min is still there, it's changing. So people were brought together. The army of his men were brought together. Exactly the rule apply for the third one. Tayrun means bird. Tayrun, so first you put an al before that, and this will become at tayru, one dhamma goes away, and min will also change to taro, to teris, and then it will be wat tari, wow in between. So armies of jinn, armies of people, and armies of birds were brought together, were gathered together. Okay, so what happens is that whenever in an organized setup, when an army comes somewhere, or people come with an army, the first thing is that they are made to stand and in the marching order. People are made, armies are made to stand in certain ranks in the marching order. So that is the first thing which is done there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, Fahum yuza'un. So they, fa means so, hum means they. And they includes all three, jinn, ins, and tair, birds. What was done to them? Yuza'un. So let's understand that word. Okay, first of all, I want to recollect that when you have fa'ala, fa'ala means to do, and we just learned that if I put a ya in the beginning and pronounce as yaf'alu, yaf'alu, it means he does, present tense and third person. And again, I'm going to rewrite because this is important. If I make one change here, and that change is that if I take the first letter ya and change to a dhamma or a pesh, this becomes a passive voice. This is active, he does. Passive is it is done. It is done. So the difference is that yaf'alu, yuf'alu. Only one letter change. Only one letter change makes the difference of going from active to passive. Okay. If you put kasra under that letter, that becomes the bab number 4. In bab number 1, that is the rule. Okay. Very important. Don't mix the, otherwise the meaning will be totally messed up. If you are in a present tense, he does. Active. If you want to make it passive, just change first letter from fatha to a dhamma. Yaf'alu, yuf'alu. Now, the root letters are waw, za, and ain. The meaning of these 3 letters is to make a rank, to stand in a line. Waza'a means to stand in a line. I'm going to apply both of these rules here and see what the difference is there. First of all, you put a ya in the beginning and pronounce with this yuza o, exactly fataha, just like these 4. This means he stands in a line, one person. If I just change this dhamma here, and make this dhamma only, keep everything same, it becomes passive. It means he was made to stand in a line. Here, third person stands in a line. Here, third person was made to stand in the line or made a row or a rank. Then you put waw and noon, which is making it a plural. Okay? So this becomes yuzauna. They were made to stand in the rank order in the line. Okay? Yuzauna, important thing is that follow is exactly this one, passive. Okay? Present tense. They are made to stand in the rank order, in the lines. So all these armies of jinn, ins and tair were brought together. Then they were ordered, make a marching order, stand in the lines. Notice one thing, this is a present tense. They are made to stand in the line. But hushira is the past tense. They were brought together, so translation will be they were made to stand in the ranks. They were made to stand in the lines. Okay? So this is the meaning so far. For Sulaiman alayhi salam, his armies of 3 kinds were brought together and they were made to stand. It's a passive, in the marching order. Then the order came with Sulaiman, let's march. Okay, in the next ayat. Okay, so what happens? The word is hatta. They continued marching, hatta until. Iza means when. The next word is ata. Ata means to come. Okay, and atau, they came. It's a plural. Wow is a plural. Fa'ala, he did. Fa'alu, they did. So these 3 letters means to come, and wow is making a plural past tense, until they came, until they arrived. These are simple words. Okay. Where did they arrive? The word is wadun. Wadun means a valley. We call wadi in Urdu, but in Arabic it is a wadun. Wadun means a valley. And the word is namlun, noon, mim, lam, means these are the root letters, and when you make the word namlun, it means ant. The little bug, the little thing that crawl is ant, is namlun. When you put al before that, it becomes the ant, and one dhamma goes away, and noon is a shamsi letter, so it will kill the sound of lam and pronounce twice, so it becomes an-namlu. Al-namlu becomes an-namlu. An-namlu means the ant kind. Ant is one, just like we say jinn kind or mankind, means all the ants are grouped and are known as an-namlu. Okay, so an-namlu is the word. So we have two words now here. Wadun means valley, and an-namlu. You combine them by putting an off in between. Valley of the ants. When you do that, so an-namlu is the word, and wadun. So when you combine two by the off, the rule is that the second word changes to a kasra, and on the first one, you lose one dhamma. So these two words together are wadun namli. You read them together, don't pronounce this alif, combine dal with the noon. Wadun namli, valley of the ants. Now, word before that is Allah. Allah means upon, and this is a harf-e-jar, preposition, and what preposition does is that looks at the next word and changes last letter dhamma to a kasra. So the combination now is what's in the Quran. Ala wadin namli, hatta atau, when they arrived, ala wadin namli, upon or to a valley where ants used to live. Wadin namli. So what happened when they arrived there? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, qalat namlatun. Now, the word namlatun is from the same, but one ant is a feminine word. Okay, so one ant is namlatun. Okay, when I said an-namli, just like al-jinni, it's the ant kinds, all the ants. But here, namlatun is one ant, and because it's a feminine word, so we put round ta and two dhammas, namlatun. Qala means he said, but you put a ta at the end because qalat, she said. This is the grammar of feminine. Qalat, she said. Why we are using feminine? Because namlatun is a feminine word. So Allah says, qalat namlatun. An ant said something. What did this ant say? Said, Ya ayyuhan namlu. I explained the word Ya ayyuha because an-namlu has a al before that. So Ya ayyuha will be used for that as the word for addressing them. Ya ayyuhan namlu, all the ants. One ant said, all the ants, what you should do, udkhulu. The word is dakhala. Okay, dakhala, root letters, and adkhala means enter, go in. Okay, now when you make, actually I have to go into a little bit more details in this one. Dal, kha and lam are the root letters. Okay, we have to make the command here. Okay, what is the rule to make the command? Order. If you are telling someone go, admit, or enter, you are ordering. Now there are two things. You see a wow at the end and this extra alif which is written. This wow means a plural. Okay, to make it plural, we are going to add a wow. But the three letters which are there, in these three letters, if I add an alif there, and pronounced as Dhamma, Fataha, and Kasra and Lam. Not Kasra, Dhamma, another Dhamma. Udkhul. This is command going to one person. If you're telling one person, Udkhul, means enter somewhere. Okay? When you put a vav with an alif, it becomes plural. All of you enter. So one ant is saying to all the enters, go and go back, enter, go somewhere. Where? Masakinakum. Sakana are the root letters. Sakana means to reside or to live. Sukunat is the residing somewhere. Okay. Maskan is the place of living. Maskun actually. Maskunun. Full word is maskunun. Place of living. Maskan is also spoken. We'll just keep, it's pronounced both ways in Urdu, Maskan and Maskun, but Maskan is the right word. Maskan is a place of living where you find the sukun, residence. Okay, this is one house or one residence. Its plural is masakinun. Okay, so I'm going to write down the first plural because that's what the word is being used in the Quran. Masakinun. That's the word for the plurality. Masakinun, houses. Then you add kum. Kum means you. And you is pointing to the ants. Okay? So you combine these two. Houses of you or your houses. And when you combine these two, these pronouns don't change, but in this one two changes into one dhamma, so it becomes masakinokum, your houses. But your houses is becoming as a maf'ul of udkhulu. So when a word comes as a maf'ul, we change this to fataha and it becomes masakinakum. Masakinakum, your houses. If udkhulu was not there, this dhamma will remain there. Masakinokum. But udkhulu is a verb and a noun as a verb becomes maf'ul and fataha. Udkhulu masakinakum. Enter into your houses. So one ant cried to all the ants, enter, go back into your houses. And then this ant is giving the reason why this ant is telling other ants to go back into your houses. The words Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, La yahtimannakum Sulaymanu wa junuduhu. So the word is simple, but let me explain to you. Hatama are the root letters. Hatama means to crush. And why this word is being used? That Sulaiman alayhi salam and his army are going to walk into the valley, and the ants are on the surface. They are walking all over the place. And because ants are so small, and when the armies are moving, the dust is flying, all that, they will not see that thousands of ants are walking there or moving around. So they will crush them under their feet. So that is the reason hatama is being used, to crush them down by walking over them. Hatama. Now, so we have to make the grammar. I'll just write down hatama, and if you put a ya in the beginning, it becomes third person yaf'alu, he does. Okay. Kum means you. You means ants. Okay, you. So one ant saying to the all other ants. Now, we are going to put a noon with a shadda here. This called noon taqeed. And this brings the meaning of taqeed or surety, definitely. Definitely, definitely. Okay. La is before that, which is bringing the meaning of not. Okay, so 4 verb words. La means not. Okay, ya is bringing the third person, and kum means ends, you. Noon is a noon of taqeed, definitely. So when I combine these, it will be pronounced la yahtimannakum. So it may not be that they crush you, or in English we say lest they crush you, or it is a possibility that you may get crushed. So go away so you don't get crushed. Go into your house. La yahtimannakum. When you read them together, that's what it is. La yahtimannakum. This noon-e taqeed forces this fataha here, so it becomes manna. Mannakum, and yahti is common, la means not. La yahtimannakum, maybe they will not crush you, or they might not be able to crush you if you go in your houses. Okay? Who? Sulaymano wa junuduhu. Sulaiman and his armies are coming. You will get crushed. So go back into your houses. And then very nicely, the ant is favoring Sulaiman by saying that he is not going to do this intentionally. This is not his plan. Ant is saying, Wahum la yashurun. They may not, perceive that you are there. Sha'ur. Yashurun is from sha'ur. They may not have the understanding of that you are there. They may not have the knowledge. So, wahum, while they, hum means they, la yash'urun, sha'ara are the root letters. And this, we in Urdu say sha'ur, which is to have the understanding, or to have the knowledge, or to know about something. So, yash'uruna, they know. La yash'uruna, they don't know. They may not know, and they may crush you under their feet. So this is what the ant is inviting all the other ants to be careful, to save their lives, take protection. So inshallah we will stop here.